another discussion with Dena. As we know, we are knee deep in the middle of another presidential election, and the political campaigning is in full effect. But just one of the many issues that are affecting us, Black America in particular, is the economy, stupid. There's inflation. And what about those black jobs? Housing, and the illegals that are taking the resources that were intended for black communities and having the ability to maintain a household with the high cost of living today. We know that when it comes to the Black community, many of the funds and resources have been taken and are being rerouted to fund non citizens who came into America illegally. It is certainly a matter of concern considering the amount of money that has been given to non citizens that played no role in building or contributing to the society. Recently, Dr. Umar Johnson was on the Breakfast Club for the umpteenth time, and he had some very interesting and quite insightful things to share with them in regards to this particular issue. When it comes to the overwhelming amount of illegals, for some reason they are referred to as migrants, and that I can't understand. But anyway, let's take a listen to exactly what Dr. Umar had to say about this.
Bottom line is when Joe Biden got elected, he said he wanted to fast track 4 million undocumented residents to full citizenship. Black people completely ignored it. I spoke on it. I said, do you know why he want to fast track 4 million? Because he know he's not going to do nothing for us. We ain't going to be motivated to vote for him November. So what he's going to do is have these migrants already set up with citizenship so they can replace the black vote that he loses. The migrants are being put in our communities on purpose, New York and Chicago on purpose, because they are what? The two blackest cities in America. They're the two largest cities in America. They're the two most politically conscious black communities in America. So if we can wash out the black with the brown in New York, if we can wash out the black with the brown in Chicago, Philly don't stand a chance. Atlanta don't stand a chance. LA, Houston, Dallas, Detroit, Chicago don't stand a chance. The migrants are here for three reasons. Replace us at the polls, replace us at the low-end industry jobs, right? See, when Donald Trump said during the debate that Joe Biden is taking black jobs and giving them to migrants, he was correct. Although he didn't say it because he cared about us, but he's right. When people say, what do you mean by black jobs? Get out your bougie feelings and deal with the reality. 1/3 of black men have a felony. So there's a lot of jobs they will never qualify for. They are mostly what? Essential workers, warehouse, trucking, security. And a lot of those jobs are going to who? The migrants. So that's what he meant by black jobs. We got to stop being so sensitive and look at the reality of it. I was reading a report the other day. They said the Latinos taking over the construction jobs. They taking them over. And the low industry work, like your gardening, your landscaping, completely taking it over. They're not the enemy. The problem is black people don't get as much opportunity. So then people say, well, white people don't really like brown people like that. That's true. But you know what the difference is? They don't have the burden of accountability with them that they have with us. We built the country. So every time they look at us and deal with us, the bottom line is y'all brought them here and they built y'all into what y'all are. They don't have to say that to the Venezuelans. They don't have to say that to the Colombians. They don't have to say that to the Mexicans. So although they don't like brown, they would much rather deal with them than the black, because with the black, there is a white man's burden that you owe them restitution for 246 years of unpaid labor. Now let's look at what Eric Adams is doing over there in New York. A family of four is getting $1,400 a month. $1,400 a month. Do you know that that's more than what some of the veterans are getting with a child? They're getting more money than veterans who served in the military. Not only that, they're getting free food stamps, free child care, and permanent housing. Although New York City has a black homelessness rate no less than 35%. So you got black people who pay taxes living on the street, and you got migrants who ain't paid a single tax in their life, eating and living better than the black people who built the country. If I was talking to Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson of Chicago, I would ask them something. What is the Democratic Party giving you guys? that you're willing to sacrifice your political future to push this migrant agenda? Because I don't see how they get reelected by black folks. I don't see how. And if your city goes to the migrants, you can best believe the migrants ain't electing no black person to mayorship. So you're literally dying on your sword for the Democratic Party. Do you know that New York City has spent $1.5 billion on the migrant crisis so far? It's projected that this year, 2023 was $1.5 billion to take care of the migrants. $1.5 billion. 2024 and 2025, they said it will cost New York City $9 billion. Chicago has spent about $350 million this year on the migrant crisis, and that's expected to quadruple. And you know what was so disrespectful about Chicago with regard to Brandon Johnson? Remember all them schools they shut down in Chicago because they said they couldn't afford to operate them? Mm-hmm. They opened them up. Not only did they open them up, they renovated them. Turned them into apartments for migrants, so you sleep upstairs, go to school downstairs. How is it that you ain't got money for jobs for black people, which is a big reason why you got so much crime? You got all these homeless black people in Chicago, but you can take care of the migrants before you take care of black people. And that's why I'm hoping that Black Chicago organizes, just like co-founder of the Black Panther Party, Bobby Seale did at the 1968 Democratic National Convention in Chicago. Bobby Seale turned up and turned it out with the Black Panthers. I hope Chicago doesn't let President Biden and Vice President Harris come there, because you know the Democratic National Convention is in Chicago, right? August 19th through August the 21st. I hope Black Chicago don't let the Democrats come to your city where they have bred this migrant crisis and y'all don't do nothing about it. And I'm going to tell you who else needs to stand up and show out. Milwaukee. Even though they don't have a migrant crisis like Chicago and New York, the Republican convention is in Milwaukee next Monday, this coming Monday. And guess what? Milwaukee, black people are the largest ethnic group. Unlike Chicago, it's white, Hispanic, black. Milwaukee is black, white, Hispanic. But guess what? Milwaukee has one of the worst black male graduation rates in America. So I'm hoping that black Wisconsin goes to that Republican National Convention and exercise their First Amendment rights to peacefully assemble and protest. But don't let them come to your city after causing all these problems and let them leave without them hearing from you. They are replacing us. America, if they can do it, they're going to purge black people with brown. Why do you think the New York regents, did you see that they said they're going to stop requiring the regents examination to get your high school diploma in New York? Is it that convenient? All of a sudden, we get a migrant crisis in New York, and now you don't have to pass the regents no more. You know why? Because we got to make sure the migrants take all the jobs from black folks. They're already taking over the social services. They dominate the social services. If you black and hungry, need some food, too late. The migrants got it. Same thing in Chicago. You black and hungry, need some food, need a job, the migrants got it. I'm trying to understand how Eric Adams and Brandon Johnson can hand out all these work permits when you got all these unemployed black men. Half of black men in New York unemployed. Half of black men in Chicago unemployed. But you got migrants getting jobs. You're holding job fairs for migrants. You're giving out job passes for migrants. And you know, because of the election fraud, if you got a work permit, it ain't that hard to get a voting registration permit. But I got a question for Eric Adams. Did y'all see he said that he was thinking about staffing the pools during the summer with migrants because they're good swimmers? Right. 40% of black teens, 15 to 24, that age group, are unemployed in New York. Mayor Eric Adams, how you going to give the lifeguard jobs to the migrants when half your black kids ain't got no job? Don't you think you should start with the children of the black people who pay taxes? I really don't understand them too. I do kind of feel sorry for them.
Maybe feel like black people can't swim, buying into that stereotype.
Put some money out there. We going to swim.
We'll learn.
But my thing is, I know they know what they're doing isn't good for their political future. The only thing I can think of is they're too afraid to tell the Democratic National Machine that I'm not going to go along with this because, you know, they can destroy them. I really think they're being forced to sacrifice their career in order to purge their own people from the two largest cities.
Yeah. You may not agree with Dr. Umar on all subject matters, but there is no denying the truth that he spoke here. And there is simply no way you can look at what is happening, what has been allowed to happen right before your very eyes, and not wonder what is the real hidden agenda here. There is always one. So when these political candidates come to us with the song and dance, we have to put down dancing a jig, drop the biscuit, and we have to stop going along just to get along and understand that there is an agenda here that affects me and you. And no candidate ever specifically ask Black people, the descendants of slaves in America, what is it that your people want or need in order for me to get you to vote for me? Most of them just simply assume it is the vote is there for their taking, and they offer us Black people nothing in exchange for it. Nothing sustainable or even tangible at this point. Nothing to better our lives or our future or our offspring's a better life. So it is time that we change the practice of them thinking that our vote is just theirs for the taking. We don't need a church meeting every now and then, a visit from one of them that will come and take pictures and clap and sing and laugh, then go back and do nothing for us. We don't need more word salad. We need to know your stance on reparations to the descendants of slaves. We need to know what funding is geared to us in our community exclusively that we may benefit from, whether it's educational, medical, when it comes to health care, and what is in place to assist our future, our youth, with various resources to enable them to be successful in life, as well as our elders to have a better quality of life. Not going to the polls, voting simply for the sake of voting, but literally making each Black vote count towards something that is certifiably beneficial and rewarding to us specifically. We cannot be afraid to say Black people. Black people in America we have needs just like any other group, and there's simply nothing wrong with saying Black people. What do you have to offer us here in America? What do you, as a candidate, be you a Republican, a Democrat, or otherwise, what do you have to offer us, Black people, exclusively? That way we may benefit from voting for you, from choosing you as our candidate. And it's straight like that. Now, what do you think about this issue? Be sure to subscribe and leave your thoughts on this topic in the comments. And join me next time for another discussion with Dena. Ta-ta!
This concludes your daily discussions with Dena. Join us Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. Like, share, subscribe, and leave a comment.